Hey guys, so we're gonna talk about our final project. Um, so uh, we'll start with the checklist real quick. Um, so we have some pre-made models. Um, so we have utilized our skybox class, terrain class, and our pre-built models that have been transferred over. Also, we have our model tools that has all the unit sphere, pyramid, and unit box and everything. Um, and let's go through. We have flat plane, and everything has the newest uh, inbuilt with UVs and normals with mesh numbers. So that was for our the model side of it. Um, we That's a model class. Let me just run the code real quick to show you all the details, and then we'll briefly go over the code as well. Uh, so for DXF, yeah. All right. So this is a simple. I've used like two different terrain models. I want to use one of them for the mountains and one of them for a plain. So if you look at the mountains, the mountains right there. That's a different terrain itself. There's a water terrain that's just like flat plain, and then there is our normal ground and grass terrain. So I used three different terrain models, and they've been put one on top of another, with mountains having the highest height in there. And there's a watchtower that is throwing a spotlight at this boat that's coming through, and there's a point light on top of the tower itself. And there's another boat coming, if you can see on the left right there, that has a point light in it. So yep, that's there. You can see the skybox, the whole skybox around. If you use the shader texture class for that, there's a I utilized the space frigid because I had no idea how to do a moving light, so I created the scene with some alien influence in it to show the moving spotlights and everything. And then there is a small colony in the back that's away from waters. You can see that is there's another watchtower there that's throwing a light, and there's like three houses, about 8 houses in there. Uh, you can see all the textures being lighting up for that part as well. And uh, yep, I think I have misplaced the point light on the watchtower somewhere, but yep. So that is our scenes, kind of pretty simple. Is using I've only used one of the models from the classes that was for the space frigid. Everything else was built to the scale itself, and I changed all the scales and everything to unit scaling. Yep. So that is our scene. I'm just gonna go through the code as well. So this is our DX app. As we can see, we have our models for the space frigid and there's two watchtower. There's a watchtower. There's ground on the just below the watchtower itself that's holding it together. A boat, skybox, terrain, water terrain, and mountain terrain. So there's like three terrains that I used. There's like I haven't used the color light texture shader. I've only used the texture light shader. These are like 8 houses right there. These are all terrains: the skybox, water, and mountain. Two watchtowers, and all the textures that have been put in there. And in the DX app, in our init demo, this is our texture initialization. This is our shader initialization. This is all for all the model initialization, and these are all the graphics objects that we are initializing with if you want fog or not. So for the mountain, so what I've done with the terrain model and skybox, I have created a function that provides us the model for the texture so that we can implement it into the a graphics object. So we don't have to do a little different. Rather than that, we'll just simply use our graphics object class. So as you can see, when we're initializing the terrains, we're passing the model right there, and same thing for the world matrix. And yep, so that we can initialize all the graphics object, and they're all being activated with the texture light. If you can see, some of them are not having fog data on there, so they don't have fog, but other objects, as you go further, you'll see the fog on there. There's a fog effect. Same thing with the terrains. These are all the setting up worlds or world matrices for them. And then we are setting up the point lights and the spotlights. These two spotlights are like constant, and there's like other two spotlights they're like moving, and pretty much it. So in the draw scene, we're just rendering and setting the shader and rendering the graphics objects. You can see we have made all the changes for our texture light and color light objects with the fog data. So we have our set fog data right there, and then we're sending the fog data to, that's for the color light, and the same thing for the texture light shaders. And it is simply, if there's nothing set, we're gonna send the default values that are set at the start, or not at the start, it's let's see, actually that's in the graphics object, I mean, I'm just gonna open a graphics object, texture light, and we're setting the fog data, and initialization, we're setting default properties for those, and if it's changed, it will send the new properties. If it's not changed, it will send the default properties. That's our graphics. That's for the color light. That with the same thing with setting fog data and setting up default for those. There are the in the final assets textures. So these are pretty much all the textures that we have utilized. Ground watch. This is for our terrain. There's like models. There's cabins. There's boat and space frigid. Yeah. Pretty much just reusing most of the stuff in there. For skybox class, it's done. Terrain model class, there's a terrain class. Shader classes, we already talked about that. Graphics object, I haven't implemented the mirror in there, but yep, that is pretty much most of the checklist part of it that has been done. Other than that, let's see. Yep, you can see 3 different terrains being utilized. There's like a snowy mountain, there's like grassy land, and the water is a plain terrain, so there's nothing really like special about it. It's all plain water. Um, and I have about like 200 by 200 for the size and length of it. You can see the point light. You can see the, like if you go further, you can see the point light right there. And as we go further, if you see on the bottom, mountain doesn't get foggy, so I've kept the ground as foggy. So as you go further, you'll see the mountain, the plains and the water getting foggier and foggier. And same thing with the houses and carriages. Like if you can see, we go further, they'll get like foggy. As you can see, it will turn foggier, and there you go. Kept the different colors so that you can identify them with the different color itself. Right, yep, so that's a point light, spotlight, two boats. That's and that was for the final project. That's all. And